The number of migrants apprehended along the U.S. southern border surpassed 2 million in 2023, a fiscal year. That's the second highest number ever.
The mass influx is now overwhelming border cities, straining resources and piling pressure on President Joe Biden to do more as the 2024 election looms.
In the last of our U.S. border series, Toni Waterman reports from Eagle Pass, Texas, where a large number of crossings are happening.
The final hurdle after an exhausting journey. These migrants must scale this meters-thick, double-edged razor wire fence if they want to reach American soil. This man calls for blankets, sweaters, bags, anything that will offer protection. His success sets off a chaotic scramble. Young children hoisted over the wire, others yanked through it. It's a mad dash to get as many people through as quickly as possible. Once safely through, emotions break free. The weight of weeks on the road, some with young children in dangerous situations, pours out like the river they just crossed. How was the journey for the children?
Fue mucho muy difícil, mucho sufrido, sufriendo hambre, sed, caminando quizás cientos de kilómetros.
Scenes like this are unfolding day and night along the length of the U.S. southern border. At times, border agents are even cutting the razor fence to let migrants pass safely.
If they start getting swept away by the currents, if they start succumbing to the environment, and my men and women see that, they are not going to let somebody die or get into harm's way.
Immigration officials say they processed more than 200,000 migrants in September, the highest number in almost a year. It's a stark reversal from the drop in illegal crossings after a pandemic-era policy allowing border agents to expel migrants was lifted in May. It was replaced by a new, some say harsher, alternative. It requires migrants to book an asylum interview using a government app before entering the U.S. If they don't, they're turned back and banned from entering for 5 years. Some of the migrants we spoke to said they tried to use the app, but that it's full of glitches and appointments are very limited.
Tengo 3 meses viajando. Estaba esperando la cita, pero nunca me salió. Y ya no aguantaba más y me tocó hacer esto.
Many border cities are now at a breaking point.
Here's where we welcome asylum seekers.
Valeria Wheeler runs the only migrant shelter in Eagle Pass, Texas. They just moved into this bigger space, but are already over capacity.
Our capacity depends on how many people leave. So we are ready to process and to support and to feed up to 1,000 people a day.
And what sort of numbers have you been seeing over the last couple of days?
Between 500 to almost 1,000.
Is it straining your resources?
Yes, but seeing children and elderly and people with disabilities, it's heartbreaking.
She believes the only solution is to address the root causes of migration, violence, poverty, and corruption, so people don't feel compelled to leave in the first place. The Biden administration says it is trying to boost economic opportunities in southern Mexico and northern Central America, supporting 50,000 students, farmers, and others with jobs, training, and access to capital. But experts say overall, the U.S. lacks a solid policy towards Latin America and has been too narrowly focused on containing immigration.
We threw our hands up in the air and we said Latin America and the Caribbean are a continent in trouble. We're not going to intervene. But if we do not address the problems of the root, and I think the U.S. can offer quite a bit of leadership on that, we're going to continue seeing hundreds of thousands of people leave every single month.
Biden is now coming under immense pressure from both Republicans and Democrats to do more to stem the flow. He recently waived 26 federal laws to allow for construction of a new 32-kilometer stretch of border wall, something he promised he'd never do as president. With the 2024 presidential election just over a year away, And with lawmakers in Washington still bitterly divided over whether to include stricter border security measures in a government funding bill, migrants find themselves once again ensnared in American politics. Toni Waterman, CNA, Eagle Pass, Texas.